Nicolas Cage is the GOAT. We know it, you know it, I know it, we all know it. He is the GOAT, the greatest of all time. And we're having a bit of a Nick Cage resurgence, and you know what? I'm here for it. I'm absolutely here for it. He's been cast as himself in The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. A film which I've unfortunately missed going to watch twice now at advanced screenings, annoyingly. First time I was due to get a train and someone threw themselves on the track, which is tragic, I know, but it actually happens quite often here in the UK. And then the second time, it just didn't work out because I had to, it just didn't work out. But anyway, this is a film that I'm really looking forward to, like I said, and yeah, we're getting this Nick Cage resurgence, and all the more for him, right? He's a guy that he's an Oscar winner. Loads of people seem to forget that, and he can actually act. He's really good. He's a really good actor. But he obviously had loads of issues with money and things like that, and then he got relegated to just doing indie projects because he wanted to make as much money as possible to clear his debts. And you know what? More power to him. More power to him. But this is probably one of the first films he's been in the theatres for some time. And this article is great. And just reveals why he's the GOAT. Because he is. So he speaks with a Hollywood Reporter here during the New York special screening of The Unbearable Weight of Massive Talent. And he says, somewhere along the way, Hollywood seems to have forgotten that I could do comedy. I had done Raising Arizona. I'd done Honeymoon in Vegas, Moonstruck. I mean, it goes on, but they forgot. With this, Tom invited me back into a comedy, and it was a very welcome experience for me because I wanted to do that. It's been so long. And I tell you, you need to look at some of the interviews of him. They did like an Ask Me Anything on Reddit, and he's just such a grounded guy. So obviously this film's interesting because it is literally Nick Cage playing Nick Cage, and going through all of his sort of roles through the years. And he describes it here. So he says, this is actually, Tom Gormican. So he says, the script starts off as like an indie character piece, and slowly, when Pedro Pascal's character comes in, it changes into a buddy comedy, and we really had to try to make that seamless. So it was about grounding all the performances across the genres as much as we could. From the production design to the score, we really had to work hard to use all the tools available to us to actually transition from genre to genre. Now, the film bounces from explosive actioner to emotional indie comedy to emotional indie to meta comedy, but for Cage, it was laughs that resonated the most. All the comedy in the movie resonated because I do like to be funny at home and make my wife laugh and my boy laugh. I get a bit off the wall in my particular brand of humour, and that reflects well on this movie. It's very apparent in the movie what my sense of humour is. And he also says, like, because people think he's like really full of himself as well. Basically playing himself. He's like, there were some moments where, like the scene by the pool, and I'm in the lounge chair and people are calling you Mr. Cage. I'm like, oh my god, this is really happening. This is my character's name. It's terrifying. What a humble guy. Those days got a little tricky, but I'm happy to say that it all works. Now, interestingly, he has a daughter in this, and you should again. This is a Nick Cage appreciation video, but you want to see what this actress says of Nick Cage. So for Lily Sheen, who plays Cage's daughter, Addie, she couldn't personally relate to the experience of having a burnt out famous dad, but called the experience of playing in a worst case bizarro world version of entertainment cathartic. Having Cage there to help guide her through her first major movie role made it even better. And I've spoken with, it's here on the channel, Richard Stanley, who obviously worked with Nick Cage for The Colour Out of Space. He sung his praises. He said he made him, like Hollywood again, basically, is that he's such a nice guy. And listen to this. The person that I worked with was an incredible dad, an incredible mentor, and was a fantastic person to have on set to calm me down and teach me how to do things. I don't think the Nick Cage in the movie probably would have done the same. Just saying what a nice guy Nick Cage is. The GOAT. Cage admitted on the carpet that playing an exaggerated tabloidish version of himself was somewhat of a test of his acting technique, with it taking a few days once he was on set to really settle into the part. I have a certain criteria that I meet on every movie for building a character. I design the character, the moves, the expressions, the vocalizations. Some of what I'm going to say from the ridiculous and hopefully to the sublime. But whatever I design, no matter how broad it may get, it has to have genuine emotion. The emotional content has to infuse the performance as well as the imagination. What, dude? So I noticed within day 1 or 2, after I got the first jitters of playing a character who actually had my name, and I'm still recovering from that, I realised the same criteria can be applied to this, he concluded. What a legend. What an absolute legend. So Gormican came in and said some stuff. So working on set with an actor that has both a clear vision for his roles and shares the same name and resume as his character resulted in a few on-set conversations about how to separate the characters from the actual man. Nick would always come over to me and say, "Hey Tom, there's a guy who wears rings and leather jackets and he lives in Las Vegas." And he would never say that. And I'm going, "Oh, you mean you?" Gormican says, laughing. And he's going, "Well, yeah." And I'm like, "Well, it's not you. It's a character based on you." He goes, "He has my name." And I'm just like, "Please say the line." We would both be laughing and he'd be like, okay, I'll do it. What a nice... It's just so funny. What an absolute legend. So blurring the line between reality and fiction in this Nick Cage homage, however, also yielded one of the film's funniest moments. In the script, the younger version of Nick was supposed to kiss Nick on the cheek. And that morning, Nick came to Tom and was like, "I have an idea for this scene. I think young Nick should deeply French kiss Nick." He's like, "What do you guys think of that?" Ayrton recalls. And we were like, "Yes, that's incredible. I never would have thought to pitch that to you, but yes, 1,000 times. I didn't know that was part of it, but goddamn, that sounds weird and gross, but alright." So weird. Figuring out how to pitch Cage and how to craft the fictional version of him actually came from co-writers and genuine long-time fans, Ayrton and Gormican, diving deep into the actor's catalogue as well as watching hours upon hours of interviews. We read a lot of interviews with him, watched interviews, so we had a sense of things he was interested in, Ayrton told THR. We know that he loved German expressionism films, and so we added that to his character, where he, in the first act, wants to show his daughter the cabinet of Dr. Caligula, which is this old German film which we had read that he loves, or which we had read that he loves. So there were little things like that where we knew we would show him that we've done our research and that we've studied what he's into and sprinkled all that kind of stuff. Then it was again a negotiation in terms of who the character was and who he was. The fact that he has enough perspective on where the fake version of him sits in the sort of entertainment ecosystem is something that's really great. It's sort of a warts and all performance where he can present a version of himself that's a down and out, and that's tough to do. Apparently this is a film which he will never watch because it's too close to home. But I got confused with that because I distinctly remember him talking about Pig at the same time. And it sounds like he likes this film when he's talking about it. So I am a bit confused. Pig I've not heard him do many rounds for at all. But then I don't know how Pig would be too close to home, because he was kind of a washed up chef. He sort of removed himself from society as a chef. But yeah, Nick Cage is the GOAT, and I'm absolutely here for it. So let me know what you think down below. I can't wait for this film to actually see it eventually, like I've been bloody meaning to for some time now. But yeah, let me know down below. Cheers, folks. Have a great weekend. Take care.